Sarah Oates here with Divi Space, and in this video we're going to be looking at how you can use Page Builder Everywhere to put a layout inside of a slider. So here you can see we're using the Sendex layout here, which is one of our layouts, and it comes with this section called Happy Customers, and we've got 3 testimonials that look really cool. But if you wanted to turn this into a slider, you can now use Page Builder Everywhere to do that. So what we've got here now is a functioning slider. The content's still the same, but I'll let you imagine that I'd bothered to change it all out for you. You can obviously change the speed of the sliders, you can change the animations, you can change whether they continue when you scroll over them, those kind of things. But I want to show you essentially how you can create this. So if we go into our Visual Builder, I'll show you the steps. Now some of it I've already done, so I'll do a little bit like that, you know, when they take it out of the oven, but it's really one they cooked earlier. Just to be able to show you and to save time as we're doing it. But essentially what we're going to do here is we are going to duplicate this whole section. I like to duplicate a section when I'm mucking around with it so that I haven't lost the original if I want to go back to it, for example. So we get this whole section here. Now you're going to want to delete this content here, change this into 3 columns. Because of this layout, we're actually going to have to copy some code that was already embedded into it, because as you can see, this first one loses its background. So we're going to go here into the row settings and into advanced, into custom CSS. Obviously this is not necessary for any old slider, but just for this example it is. And column 1 main element, I'm just going to put that in there. Okay, so now we've got it looking beautiful. We want to remove this padding here at the top, so I'm going to drag that up and drag that up there. So we want to have no padding at the top and the bottom. On the row settings, we want to make that full width. So the reason we want to make it full width and lose the padding is because you're going to be putting this inside another element, so you're going to end up with kind of this double padding thing going on and it won't work properly. So that's the first thing that's really important. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is go to sizing. We're going to turn that off and then say, I want to make this full width, and we will let that work like that, which is great. And that is pretty much it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to right click this and say save to library. Now I've already done this process obviously, but you can save it as whatever name you want it to be. And then what I did was I went through and I changed out all the photos. So just going into the, this is using a blurb, for example, and then changing out these images to something else. So I went through and changed all those images and then again right-clicked and saved to library. Now the next step after that is you need to refresh this page. The reason you need to refresh it is because you've just added things to the library and you need to make sure that you refresh the page before you then go and try and access the library. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to delete that out and we're going to use this new section that we've created. So all we've done here is, again, I've just duplicated this. I've changed it to the columns to be this one here. And then what we have done here is added a slider module. So I'll just show you below how I did that from scratch. So if we say plus new module, I'm going to add a slider module. Now don't be scared by all the orange. We're going to delete out this top one here, and then here you will just delete out all of this content, and under this one here you are going to say add, and then you're going to go and find your slider testimonial and then say okay, and then you're going to tick that and then add your second one. So just click below it. If you click on it, it's actually going to let you edit that particular content, which is great. So if I just click on this here, as you can see, it opens up a new tab and it actually takes me to that slider testimonial 1. So this is a great way if you need to make changes, that you can just click on that and it'll open up in a new tab. You haven't lost where you're up to, which is great. So just click below it and then delete. And now we're going to add our slider testimonial 2 and then click tick. Now, there are a few important things to note with using the slider. You're gonna need to muck around with a little bit of your spacing and padding. So I'll just show you in the one that I was working on earlier. Now, don't worry when things look funny. So this is still looking funny. Oh, I forgot to get rid of that background. But as you can see, there is all this space that comes in a slider. So you need to get rid of that space because otherwise it doesn't line up very well. So what I have done here, I'll just show you in this particular one here under design and then under spacing, is as you can see, I've got rid of all of the padding and I've got rid of almost all of the margin as well. I probably could get rid of that margin as well and it would still be fine. So just be aware that you may need to muck around with some of the spacing. And then in terms of this orange background, that is just sitting inside these slides here and then under background. And what you want to do here, it doesn't let you delete the background like that. So you're just going to need to click on that there and then bring the opacity right down, or change it to white if you wanted. And the other thing that you need to note is you need to come to design and then click text and then change this to dark. And the reason for that is that Divi builds in this like weird shadow, and you obviously don't want to have that. You may want to muck around with changing some of the elements. Sorry, going backwards and forwards here. I'll see if I can find them. Elements. Oh no, sorry. I'm inside the slide. Let's just go outside of this main slide. And then you want to, under elements, you might want to get rid of the controls or the arrows, for example. You might want to change with the animations. Oh, come back in here and animation. So you might want to put it on auto animation. You might want to change what it's doing as it's animating, for example. So I'm just going to delete out this one and then come back out and we'll have a look at what we created. So it's that easy. Basically, if you can save any layout that you want to, I like using rows most of the time because you just don't have to worry about the padding that comes with the row and the section. But of course, if you're using rows and sections, it's totally fine. Just make sure that you get rid of all that padding and sometimes the margins, just to make sure that it's going to work really well. But as you can see, this is working great. It's got that little text that I accidentally typed in just before, sitting above. There you go, beautiful looking text. Anyway, now you can see that you can put any content. So if you can imagine, you could be putting products inside those sliders, you could be putting posts inside the sliders, any content that you can come up with. You're now not bound with just that title, bit of text and a button. You can now think of all sorts of things that you can be putting into sliders. You could be promoting things, you could be having sales, whatever your brain can come up with, you're gonna be able to put that inside a slider. It's that easy. I hope this has been a really useful video. Check out our other videos so that you can work out other ways that you can use Page Builder everywhere. And I will see you in those videos.